Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 139, and today we're going to be doing Battle in the Gauntlet. And so, as I say in all the Gauntlet videos, today we're just going to talk a little bit about the lineup and not so much the deck lists themselves. I think we have video guides together for all the deck lists we're going to be playing today, so if you want to see something like that, you can just scroll back in the channel. But today we're just going to mainly focus in on the choices we've made for our best of three lineup, and then maybe some of the individual cards in each of the decks. And so, in best of three, it's kind of an interesting space right now. We're right at the end of the season. The meta has had a lot of time to shape up, and it doesn't feel like there's any super overwhelmingly powerful deck. I mean, yes, Kaisa is the best deck in the format. Illaoi Bard pretty solidly in second place, but it hasn't built up to be one of these formats to where everyone says, oh, wow, this mono Kaisa deck is pretty good. This is going to take up like 20, 30, 40% of the meta. Like maybe if you take the mono Kaisa and the Kaisa actions and the Kaisa Sivers and all of the Kaisa decks and mold them into one thing, you might get up to 25% or so, but it's still a pretty wide open meta, as we often see in Runeterra. The second kind of interesting piece to the meta is there's not a real collection of decks that you can hone in and try and focus on. Whenever I'm putting together best of three lineups, I typically try to find a set of matchups that are going to be particularly good. And so, say we'll try to have a good matchup set against Mono Kaisa and then have everything else just be kind of okay. Or we'll do kind of the flip side to where we'll say, okay, well, I'm just not playing against Bard. And so you'll go through Bard's matchup table. You'll pick the deck lists that are pretty bad against Bard, and then you'll see if you can take those and assemble them into something good, right? Because if you never have to play your bad matchup, then that's a good space for all those decks to be in. And then the last kind of thing I looked at for this one is trying to gun down the current risers of the format, if you will. That being Taliyah Lissandra coming back to the forefront. She was probably always just a top three deck all along. It's just a matter of people get tired of playing it, and so she kind of fell out of the meta a little bit. But I think as last seasonal showed us, it was actually the best deck in the format then. Right now, it does struggle against Mono Kaisa and it struggles against Bard, but it is super strong against everything else. And so that is, kind of riser number one. Riser number two being the Powder Pandemonium decks. We took a triple Powder Pandemonium deck to a Prime Glory last week, and I suspect now that the knowledge is kind of out to the masses. And that is kind of a new thing about, so it's a little bit off meta, and then it has a big kind of meme factor to it in playing Powder Pandemonium. I kind of expected to see quite a bit of it this week, and I kind of like tooled around with some lineups that were both good against Taliyah Lissandra and good against Powder Pandemonium. They're there. It's just you kind of have to accept you have bad matchups against both Kaisa and Bard, and I wasn't quite willing to do that. I am kind of in this space as to where I don't expect too many people to be playing both Illaoi Bard and Kaisa, and so maybe you could get away with it, but I just don't feel particularly safe doing that. No, I definitely wouldn't feel safe doing it in seasonals when you have to play 9 rounds and 4, 5, 6 rounds, whatever we have to play today in Gauntlet. It's a little bit less appealing. And so that last note does bring us to what we're going to be playing with today. We're just going with the good deck strategy today. And so we're going to be playing Illaoi Bard, we're going to be playing Mono Kaisa, and we're going to be playing Taliyah Lissandra. We are just taking the best decks in the format. Mirror matches be damned. We're going to be facing them down today. But the big thing that this lineup does is we're just playing, tried and true good decks. The thing I always like to talk about that I don't think gets enough attention is the long tail of the format, right? As depending on where you catch your stats, you'll still see things like tokens being one of the most common decks in the format. But I think in our 8 or 9 matches of Gauntlet in the previous week, we just saw it 0 times. And so I don't really like to focus in on the top deck list too much. I definitely build our lineups with them in mind, but I don't like trying to hard focus and hard target things, and that's why I was not super interested in bringing the anti-Taliyah plus anti-Powder Pandemonium lineup. So we're just playing good stuff. These decks have a very good win rate against what I call the long tail of the format. That is something where Taliyah Lissandra is exceptionally good, as to where even if the Kaisas were the top 25%, say the Bard's top 20%, the remaining decks, maybe the top 15%, that still just leaves like 40% of just random shit that people are playing. And that's where our lineup also excels. And so that's kind of where I typically like to land, is to where we're okay against the top matchups and then good against all the weird shit. Taliyah Lissandra is bad against the top matchups, but exceptionally good against the weird shit. And so we'll see how this kind of plays out today. But nonetheless, to get into the deck lists, nothing too exciting here with the Illaoi Bard. This is what MI's list that he runs around with. The only big and crazy thing about it is playing the 3 copies of Blood in the Water. Not a little bit unfortunate we're not playing our Illaoi Lux this week with the Attune units in it. They haven't quite caught on, but that's the big difference in this list here is we got the 3 copies of Blood in the Water. On with our Mono Kaisa, nothing too exciting here. Everything is fairly straightforward. Just a single copy of Supercharge, single copy of Radiant Guardian, along with 2 copies of both Durandi, Protege, and Greenfang Warden. Outside of those, everything feels pretty straightforward and good. 3 copies of Cataclysm is here as well. And then last but not least, we are playing Taliyah Lissandra. We brought that up and mentioned it. Again, fairly straightforward list. I thought of kind of tuning this a little bit to be not as abysmal against like the anti-gens of the world, adding in an additional copy of Kindly Tavern Keeper, but I decided against it and just taking the fairly stock list. And so Buried in the Ice, not good against the anti-gens of the world, but it is quite good against the likes of Illaoi Bards. And so hanging on to Buried in the Ice and just staying with a fairly stock Taliyah Lissandra list today. And so that's going to do it. Let's go ahead, enter in the Gauntlet. It's Bard, it's Kaisa, it's Thralls. We're going to get in. We do have to go and pay the pay-to-win price before the games start. And so let's make sure we get that before we forget. We're going to go over to the Kaisa deck. I'm going to pick up this Overwhelm guy. I still can't remember your name. Void Blaster. There we go. Definitely going to blast through him today now that you are premium. And cool. Good stuff. So let's get ourselves into the queue, onto battle. Hit the play button, hit the Gauntlet button. Here we go. And so, before we dive into the games, I will make mention, if you're one of our regular followers, I have some family events this weekend, and so I'm not going to have a lot of opportunity to make videos. I don't suspect I'm going to make any constructed videos until the new patch comes out. That will be Wednesday. I'll do a patch review on Tuesday, and then if I have time here on the following days this weekend, I'll put some Path of Champions stuff over on the FTP Bust site. And so just kind of give you a heads up. Don't freak out if you don't see a post for a day or two. I assure you everything is okay. But all right, this is always what I'm talking about in terms of being good against the long tail. I have a feeling this is probably a less experienced opponent, has quite the odd collection of units coming at us. I know like things like Fiora tend to be fine against Kaisa, but this is not like a Fiora Shen that we're dealing with. I think like looking at these, the most powerful thing this person is doing is probably like the Darius. And so that's who I'm just going to come in and ban. I don't feel particularly upset about battling against either of these decks, but I think I will just go ahead and start with the Kaisa. Like it's a little odd seeing Jen paired with Fiora, but if things are going to go wrong, I think it's going to be with our bad Kaisa units in the face of Fiora. I mean, they lose out on a lot with Jen. I'm kind of bamboozled as to what that combo was looking to bring forth. But if you're not familiar with some people on Twitter trying to popularize Fiora Shen, she's quite strong in terms of taking down units like Xerxai Hatchling and taking down things like Voidling and getting a pretty good opportunity to level up. But all right, here, I'm going to, I think we can hang on to a hand like this. I think the Ranger's Resolve is going to carry a lot of weight in this hand, although it is, slightly scary to start dropping Blinding Assaults before our Kaisa's ready. Drawing the second one, though, we might find ourselves able to get a little bit aggressive with the Blinding Assault plus Ranger's Resolve. I mean, they have to be playing a bunch of just, like, the one health turds, right? Or the one attack turds, a bunch of Crackshot Corsairs and... who is it? The Boom Crew rookie? Like, I mean, if they're playing Jhin, I don't know why you wouldn't want to play that if you're playing Jhin, but those are also not cards that combo with Fiora. Curious if our opponent disconnected or if they're just roping. You do find yourselves on occasion in the Gauntlet, if you take a little bit too long to think in the pre-game mode, people will just quit against you. So it seems like our opponent's back. Maybe just taking their time. Maybe they're playing on mobile, taking a dump at work while they're playing playing some Gauntlet. All right. Just roping it pretty hard. All right. Reasonable collection of units, though. We'll get this Kaisa popping off. If you were keeping track of our units up to this point, we're going to be at 3 evolve now. When we play a unit, we'll get to 4 when we pick up Formidable. And then Blinding Assault is only going to get us to 5 with the Scout. But as we play Kaisa, she'll be able to hit 6 with her quick attack. So we're, kind of right on track with what's happening here. And if we lose our bird to a combat trick, it's okay. It's not super ideal, but it'll be fine. There's that evolve everyone was looking for. Thought we were one short. Thought we were going to hit it with this Void Blaster, but got there already. I discounted our tough. That's what the deal was. That's what the problem was. Good. We can get these Void Blasters going now. This Kaisa is about to pop off. I think this game will be over in short order. Look at that big old boom. Feels good. Ain't nothing wrong with getting some big booms in. Alright, Kaisa pretty safely doing her thing. I'd say I don't suspect we have to worry too much about this board. I'm just going to run her out. Like, if he has a riposte, that would be a bit unfortunate, being able to riposte down Kaisa, but like, if at the end of the day he's spending like 4 more mana to just make this board not abysmal, I'm kind of fine with that. We're still in a really good spot to close things out with the Void Blasters. And so if he has to spend another 4 mana without really building up the board, cool. You know, I approve. Don't kill me with a judgment. You know, that's the way we look at it. I mean, we do actually have judgment protection next turn, right? If he's going to kill the bird here, which is unfortunate, but as we get the scout bird on board, and then like we attack and just hook in the 2 units that aren't Fiora, so she can't try and OTK us. I mean, we should be big enough to not be getting OTK'd this turn anyways, but, you know, something to think about. Something you can let mellow around in your brain piece, you know? Yeah, this is probably your last opportunity to play with the Kaisa. With the new patch coming out, I do fully suspect Kaisa to get nerfed, Bard to get nerfed, and I would not expect to see something else happen to Thralls. I think there's been kind of like a growing amount of bitching and a growing amount of upsetness about, sure, the kind of turn 7 and turn 8 just kind of auto wins, if you will, between things like Kaisa popping off and Illaoi's popping off, and I just don't think that. Let's actually do this like this. Here we go. I just don't think that they're gonna let that happen forever. So I don't think necessarily the answer there is to slow down the format, right? I don't think they're trying to say the format's too fast, although I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate a slightly fast or a slightly slower format. I think it's just the kind of like oops I win factor of a lot of these cards is not really where they're wanting to be. I don't know how it's like it's so kind of ingrained into the game at this point. I don't know the answer to fixing it. Like how do you stop like the big Riptide Rex OTKs from happening, or that's just like what all of these decks do is they just have some really big, powerful, and explosive effect. And I'm not sure what the answer is to make the game not do that. I'm not opposed to it. I've been having a lot of fun with these formats here recently. Don't take this as me bitching. This is just me kind of hypothesizing, if you will, about what's going to be happening here in the immediate future. Right. Well, that Stun Spider's fucking annoying. I'm not sure why he wouldn't Stun Spider the Kaisa opposed to playing the 4 Demacia, but kind of is what it is. He only took him to 1. Sad day. We could have got some hooks in a little bit differently and maybe got some more damage on board, but I was mainly interested in not having a 6 power unit block our Kaisa and then get barriered. And so that's why we hooked the 5 attack unit into the Kaisa. Hi girl, you got stunned. I still believe in you. Okay. And I guess we can try and just lethal on the open next turn. So let's just load up the Fearsome with the Tough. We'll push that back over to Kaisa. He doesn't have enough stats on board to try and dodge all of her abilities as well. Radiant's annoying. That kind of gets in the way, but let's see. Well, not a bad one in the Rite of Calling. Here, we'll just destroy Mana Gem. We're good on mana for the rest of the game, and so there's no reason to get our Rite of Calling counterspelled here. Now, of course, we have a little bit more protection in the event that he has a Concerted Strike or something, but we're just mainly looking for the Supercharge on this turn. All right, here comes that cool shit Supreme, am I right? Love it. Load up this 1 power dude like he's gonna punch in some damage. I believe in you, friend. I believe in you. This dude's chest clock's about to run out. I'm not sure how it actually works in this game, but he's about to hit 0. These are the things I have to bitch about. It's not Riot. That's the thing Riot needs to go out and fix. Is I don't quite understand the chess clock on how they have it on here. It's not a chess clock. It's like the the Magic Online version of this is fine. You know, you each get 30 minutes, and if your timer runs out, you lose. I'm not exactly sure why they have it set up weird like this. Alrighty, let's jump into the next one, though. On to the other deck, some Thresh, Yasuo. Sure. So let's see, there's our good friend Bard. Always love hanging on to tentacle smashes. Let's see what we can put forth. Alright, well this will just be a curve draw with our Esmith, and oh boy, that's always fun, isn't it? Nothing wrong with just nailing a chime on the first turn, loading up your 1-drop with it. That was very fun. Very fun. Lovely mechanic that we got here. What a fun mechanic. That was pure skill what I did. Did you all see how I did that? I did it. I practiced. I like focused in. I told myself, you can do this. Nice, we hit another one. One of those was a bird one, but the second one was just a pure RNG. Man, I hope the lottery tickets I bought today pay off. What a joke this game is. Now, there is a little downside to all these chime shenanigans. He's playing Shadow Isles Ionia, and so we are getting like a little bit loaded up on our Illaoi here and kind of giving him the opportunity to overcome our chimes, but really don't think that's worth complaining about. I think our shit is popping just fine. Alright, you're welcome to block however you see fit. The way we're looking to start to sequence out this game is we're going to play the Watchful Idol this turn. Go ahead and get the tentacles rolling. And then we'll be in a spot to where we can play Illaoi and then open with Eye of Nagakaboros. But I don't quite think that's necessary. Opponent's starting to build up a little bit of board. Might want to just drop a Tentacle Smash instead. But I don't feel like dropping Answered Prayers is ever the answer here. Like maybe like 2 turns from now, but not right now. We're in no rush to get this big tentacle on the board. Now, if he plays like Yasuo here, then sure, we'll grow the tentacle and then tentacle smash Yasuo. But I prefer to just bank up the mana for our bigger spells, right? Our Riptide Sermons, our Blood in the Waters, our Eye of Nagakaboroses, as opposed to just building up a tentacle. But he played Yasuo, so I'm going to kill it. Better think about this a little longer. How has the game changed? I have no mana. I'm having a hard time finding that pass turn button. Life can be pretty tough, pretty challenging. Cool. Let's get this big old boom in. What are you up to, Bard? 34? That's not bad. That's how you get flipped. Alright, and we got a Blood in the Water on top. If we lose our tentacle here, it's okay. If he has a Vile Feast or whatever to deal damage, I'm not super upset about it. We're still getting these pretty big incremental advantages here. All right. Your unit got boomed. Soul Spinners coming at ya. All right. Welcome to the party, Bard. So we've dropped Bard. I'm not super worried about this Darkwater Scourge. Like, it's a safe enough block to put Bard in front of it, I think, but I can't. Well, I can imagine our opponent killing us. It's just going to involve an atrocity. Let's just be safe, right? I think as long as we don't get too greedy here, we're just gonna close out this game, right? This is kind of the spot to where if you were ever a poker player, and it's like you show up at the table and you realize that everyone there is just worse than you. And I'm not trying to like hate on this guy as being worse than us, but I feel like we're definitely at an advantage here in terms of both collection and probably experience. And so the thing that you find yourselves doing when you're playing poker is you just play like super straightforward. You just value bet and you never bluff, and you just sit around and wait till you make a hand. And since everybody's around playing less than optimally, it's a lot of opportunity just to pick up pretty much sure money. And I feel like that's kind of a spot that we're in here. Just if we don't get like too crazy on this board, if we don't do anything too ridiculous, if we just sit around and play super straightforward, then we're probably just going to win the game. And that's what I'm feeling good about with this. The blood in the water give us an additional attack this turn. We have an overwhelming advantage on board. Let's just not, die to an atrocity. Sure. The unit is saved. The rally also saved. That was the important part for the turn. We've got a kitty here. If anybody wants to hang out with him as we're wrapping this up. He says, "What up, internet? Sorry you won't see me until the new patch comes out." Poor guy. He just wants to hang out. Isn't that right, bud? You're a top-notch kitty. All right, Thresh comes down. This one is officially done. All right, no blocks. Your butt smells horrible. I don't know what this cat's deal is. He had a butt stink problem in the previous video. This is what my life's come down to now. This is it. Yeah, you stink, dude. You stink. His mom's butt usually stinks too. We asked the vet about it. They say when they were outdoor kitties and they moved to being an indoor kitty, sometimes they have problems with expressing their anal glands. And so that's why her butt stinks. I don't know what this guy's deal is. He's been an indoor kitty his whole life, but he needs an expression. All right, first battle out of the way. We took that one down with relative ease. The good deck strategy working to perfection. Am I right? As usual. Am. Oh man, I'm so excited. Football season's getting started up. The preseason just started, and Antonio Brown didn't let us down. He's not playing this year, as far as I'm aware, after his walk off of last season, where he just left in the middle of a game. But he did make a post about regrets, and he doesn't regret how he acted on the Steelers. He doesn't regret like punching the UPS man. He doesn't regret quitting in the middle of a game. His biggest regret is that he doesn't get to see himself play live. Like, you can't float over top of your body and watch yourself play football as it's being played, because watching Antonio Brown play football is comparable to seeing the Beatles or Jesus performing at Red Rocks. I didn't know Jesus performed at Red Rocks in fucking Colorado, but apparently he did, and it was good, and it's comparable to seeing Antonio Brown play football. All right, but at any rate, back to the actual action here. I'm fine enough to play against Aurelia and Soul Zoe, although it is a good matchup for them against Taliyah Lissandra. The Teemo Puffcap deck is probably going to be fairly annoying, and then I'll just deal with Tom Kench. Tom Kench is going to be better against kind of aggro decks or probably Illaoi. And so I am a little concerned with what happens with our Taliyah Lissandra deck. Again, it feels like some of these matchups aren't going to be the greatest, but I feel like it's probably what we should be taking out. I don't know. I don't feel like this should be bad. It's not like we're out here just drawing tons of cards and stuff, but just the uncertainty of these matchups worries me a little bit. We don't have a ton of interactive options in the face of Teemo. So if he has one on the first turn here, it's probably going to be a pain in the ass. If he doesn't have Teemo, then we're probably pretty well set. They don't have fantastic answers to you dropping Frozen Thralls on them. Whoa. I was going to say, absolutely, you are more than welcome to block with your Teemo. But yeah, the other big hopes in terms of football, again, I'd love to see Deshaun Watson just get banned. The dude seems like a real piece of shit, and just get him out of the game. The Browns' first preseason game is today, the Friday that I'm making this video, and I really have high hopes that he just gets banned before the game starts. Or the thing that would be, like, I guess kind of the worst for the Browns is if they let him play all preseason because it doesn't matter for anything, and then they just ban him before the regular season starts, so they didn't even get an opportunity to practice with the other teammates. And so I would be okay with that as well. Just love to see the guy get banned. Whatever happens, it's gonna be very, very Cleveland Browns. It's arguably the most mismanaged team of all time. I mean, I guess you could look at someone like the Bengals, and it's not so much that the Bengals have been mismanaged to a large degree. It's just that you get, $200 million a year in salary cap, and if you don't spend $80 million of that, then it's like you just made $80 million, right? And so that was the Bengals thing for the longest time, was just never attempting to be competitive. And I think that now that they are competitive, that's kind of drop out a little bit. But I don't feel like they were ever grossly mismanaged as much as they just didn't care. But all right, back to the action here. We need to get a Thrall down this turn just so we can block. So let's go ahead and start with that. And now, are we willing to take a Teemo hit is the question of the day. Blighted Ravine's actually pretty interested in here since we can full clear his board. I think we just put the Ravine on top. We look to flash freeze the Teemo so we don't get loaded up with puff caps. And then we know that we can play the Blighted Ravine next turn. Now, the way I always talk about Teemo, it's not the first hit that matters, it's the second one, right? This first hit taking us from 13 puff caps to 26 not the biggest deal. But if he gets to do it next time, to where he's going to load up from 26 to then 40, like 56, whatever that one is, that's where things start to get scary. Here comes the squad. Curious to see if Caitlyn comes in.
Turning yourself in?
She does. And a boom on Lissandra. Okay. I'll let him go ahead and kill her. I think I'm a little bit more interested in... Oh, shit. Does Lissandra still cancel out puff caps? I thought they nerfed that. There was a point in time where if you had a tough nexus, puff caps wouldn't deal damage to you. I think that's the way the game works now, is that interaction doesn't happen, or it counts them all up. So if you hit for 2 here, then that gets reduced to 1. Maybe we should have protected our Lissandra a little bit more, because we can try and get the Frozen Thrall going, but apparently still just enough. Interesting. We'll have to ask old Conan's son if the tough works on the puff caps anymore. He does a wonderful series over on the Twitter, Conan's and LOR. He just posts the rules tip of the day. Lots of interactions that pop up. That, you know, there's no rule book for the game. Everything doesn't get completely shown by just putting the Oracle's Eye up. So good stuff to know. And all right, up against the Teemo Caitlyn again. I think we just need our early game interactivity here. I would like to find a challenger. That's going to be the big one to try and interact with their Teemo. But I'm not quite willing to mulligan away Voidlings. So I don't think searching for Kai'Sa is super important in this space as much as finding Blinding Assault or finding a challenger. What's your name? The bird. Found a bird. Petricide Broadwing. Nailed it. God, I'm so bad. So bad at names.
I smell a rat.
Uh-oh. It's not expecting the flashbang trap package. I guess that makes sense with Caitlyn.
Give it chase.
Right, all around pretty awkward hand. I don't feel like it's quite worth a Cataclysm at this point. But we could make an attack here, and then maybe Cataclysm next turn.
Well, you're certainly the fuzziest partner I've worked with.
I mean, it's not super required. Right, this isn't a... this isn't going to be a flipped Teemo hit coming in.
Close in on this location.
We'll prepare him a nice welcome.
A mistake is the first step to improve.
I'm going to take this. This protects from Caitlyn first and foremost, right? If he has a burn spell, then fine, but this lets us throw the Durandi Protege in front of Caitlyn. He pulls it back, that's good. Then we can look to Cataclysm. And coming into this turn 5 with Kai'Sa so small is really awkward. We've already gotten tough from the Ranger's Resolve, so it's like we can get Augment this turn, Quick Attack next turn, but that only gets us to Evolve 4. Okay. She should still be pretty decent attack, though. That doesn't do what you want. Well, maybe it did. Our tough unit doesn't die. Maybe he wanted to get the damage onto her for some reason. I guess he can, like, safely attack with Caitlyn's now.
End of the frickin' world, huh? Let's go!
I played the Void Blaster. It's a strong unit on this board. It has enough health to come out and interact with everything, and then it still leaves us in a space to play a Ranger's Resolve. I don't think it's going to be a Ranger's Resolve turn, but we're not getting anything going with Kaisa. Sure. Send it on in. Bring in that Sting Officer.
Notify patrol to close in on this location. We'll prepare
All right, this is scary. Need to unnerf the sharp sight, please, because we aren't playing any today. Please and thank you. Uh-oh. That's gonna do it. GG, my dude. All right, on to game 3. Can we recover? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. It's a little scary up against Ash Tom Kench. I'm not entirely sure what to expect out of this, but depending on how like go tall our hand has to be, and how protected our Kaisa is with spell shields, I assume whatever flash freezes they're playing can be a little bit awkward. But we'll see. A little bit more interactivity this hand. That's always nice. Boom it. It's not expecting a Yeti Yearling. Some Yetis coming out of Tom Kench Ash as well. If he's gonna hit us with a the Yeti making spell, we should probably just go ahead and open attack. Oh, we don't have Challenger yet though. Shit. Okay.
I've got your back.
Well, if he has the tall tails, that's what it is. Then we'll have an option. Oh. And Slotbot. Alright, dude. I like what you're about. So our Kaisa is slightly slow now, right? We can play Kaisa. He can play the Tom Kench eating spell. Well, she'll be big enough to not worry about it. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and just play the Bright Steel. I want to get the unit on board. His next turn, we're just going to have a 3-bank, and then I'm going to try and get the Kaisa Supercharger going next turn. I don't think it's going to actually play out, but we'll see. If it's like he has to play Tom Kench thing onto Kaisa, and then we Ancient Hourglass, and then we can just play another Kaisa the following turn. And then if he doesn't and we get to Supercharge, then we're going to be pretty okay. I don't think he's going to be able to interact with this particularly well. Right, so he gets the Acquired Taste. We haven't played Overwhelm yet. Should we just play the Void Blaster? I think this is okay.
End of the frickin' world, huh? Let's go.
So if he wants to start playing Acquired Taste now, it's a little bit slower, and then we can just build up a little bit more mana in terms of getting this Kaisa protected and active out here. Trying to think of the way we want to go this. Like, I kind of want to protect Kaisa with the ancient hourglass. So we have the potential to get 2 on board. And then the awkward thing with the hourglass is he did play a he did play a flash freeze, and so if our Void Blaster comes down next turn flash frozen, that's kind of awkward as well. So this does kind of suck. We only have 6 mana at this point. The Kaisa Hourglass is a 7 mana play, but I'll feel a lot safer if he decides to come down and spend an acquired taste before we have to throw this stuff down. He may pass back here. That's completely fine. Interesting. Okay.
I can almost taste the void.
Come on, dude. You want to hang out again?
Just makes me stronger.
Come up here. Wipe your stinky butt on me. Then dig your claws in. Not super appreciated, bro. Alright, but this seems pretty decent now, right? His attacks don't seem like they're going to be particularly good. Excellent. Let's see what this slot bot rolls to. 6 attack is kinda shitty. It'll be okay. I mean, we probably don't even bother with the Void Blaster, right? He's still doing a lot of work in terms of providing blocks and making sure this board doesn't get out of hand. I think this is okay. Oh my gosh, cat. Come on. Come on. Come on. Nope. Now he's doing this thing. He just walks around. He walks around to the other side. Contemplates jumping up here. Decides against it. They don't make them like they used to. Cats used to be smart, right? These guys are dumb as shit. Should bring in Fury of the North. I think that's going to be a little bit short because our Kaisa ability is going to kick off. I don't think this is going to play out how he wants.
Time to burn you away.
Yep. Rip Tom. Cool. Alright, feeling pretty decent about it now. That does not pop spell shields, remember that. The Ice Spell Archer doesn't have a circled ability. You can right-click on the Archer. There's no circle skill thing behind it. I don't think any of our units here have it to show it. Kaisa does. Doesn't have a circle ability like a Cathian Rain, so it won't pop a spell shield and it'll work. Okay. Who do we end up giving Tough to? We wanted to go over on the Broadwing.
A mistake is the first step to improving.
We can still get good Kaisa attacks next turn, even if she has 0 attack. Ideally, she won't be frostbitten, but alright, this one should be done. Considering just going for Spell Shield again, but I think it's okay if Kaisa gets Flash Frozen. Let's just make the really big Acathian Rain this round.
Honor guide me. What's next? Wasters, where you at?
Okay. And then the last thing with this attack is I want to hook the Ash with the Broadwing. So if he does have a flash freeze, the Broadwing would still get to deal formidable. Again, it shouldn't matter here because Ash is getting popped with the Kaisa ability, but it's one of those things you can do against flash freezes with your formidable units to be a little bit safer against the Ashes.
We'll keep pushing.
But cool, GG. Mark it a W for bust. All right, round 3, begin. So wouldn't you know it, we got somebody doing pretty close to the same thing. I'm not really sure what's going to be coming out of Jinx. What's your name? Jinx Rumble. There we go. But I feel like that's the deck we'd like to play the most. I'm just going to ban what should be their best deck in the Kaisa. Roll on to battle. Everyone says ban Kaisa. And let's start off with Taliyah. She is weak against their Bard, but if he's playing a Boom Baboon deck with the Jinx thing, and he kind of takes our strategy as to where let's start with our weakest deck first in case it runs into the really bad matchup, then hopefully we'll get to, lead off here how we want. That worked out nicely. Okay. We found an AoE. That's the big thing. We're going to be starting off with the Frozen Thrall, playing nothing on 2, and then we can Avalanche on 3 should we need to. The Avalanche has real opportunities to boom him. I typically don't play around it. I'll play around the Blighted Ravine, knowing that you're about to roll into turn 4 and how the damages can lay out, but I don't typically play around Avalanche. So we'll see if he comes in for the 5 damage here, or if he takes the more bust centric approach, if you will.
Welcome to the tipsy hour.
All right, got some stats. How far we can push it. Probably the point to where we just have to roll it out. Do we want to predict, though? Like, I don't think so. I think we just pass, right? We'll bank this 2 mana, try and Sands of Time out his upcoming attack, and then we can just put the big unit on board. Or if he doesn't look like he's going to present enough threats, then we still have Taliyah in hand.
This one's on the house.
Okay, I want to offer up the trade. He has 2 Flame Chompers in hand, and so if he has a way to discard them, he can pull our unit out of combat. And so I want to get a little bit of protection there if we can. The slightly scary one. I mean, we can just sort of shut down his turn if we go ahead and drop the Sands of Time now. Since we just put the 8/8 on board and he probably doesn't want to attack into it. We do take Sand Soldier damage though, but I think that's okay. We'll end up taking 5 damage on the turn. Or no. Alright, let's just pass. Wait till he gets into combat, and then if he allows us to just skip over this turn, then fucking awesome. There's nothing more to say about that than effing awesome. That I got that previous game in my head. I thought we were going to prevent the damage from the Dune Hopper. It didn't, but that's okay. It's got to get on board a bit now. Attempt to get on board a bit. You can hook our Thrall out of combat. Not real happy about that. So we're going to have to look to get the Harbinger and Lissandra down this turn. I don't think we're going to get attacks in otherwise. Let's go ahead and swing for the 8. I assume he'll just take it. Oh, he's got a card. He's going to burn us out. That's not good. I don't want to get burnt out. Please don't do things like that. Okay.
All things grow cold.
You could put more dudes on board. We're fine with that angle. I'd feel a little bit better if we could get Taliyah leveled up, but we've only got like 2, 3, 4 negs in our hand, so probably not going to happen. But depending on how clever he gets with his attacking, we might get to entomb the Dunehopper mech before it attacks, and that keeps the Sand Soldiers off of the board. We go for the Three Sisters. We don't have the mana to get the Ravine. I think so. Let's just get another angle towards the Dunehopper. And these dum-dums all have impact as well. Not really excited about that. I think we're just dead. Nope, clicked the wrong one. We're definitely dead. But that would have only prevented 7. Right. Oh no, that would have been enough. Wow. Okay. Oops. Wow. How much would it take? It would have taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1 from the impact. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. But that sucks. This is a matchup that should be pretty good. We didn't interact very well with that Dunehopper mech. It's like the AoEs are so strong. We got that big AoE, and now I'm a little bit worried because we have to run into a bad matchup against Bard, and then we have to beat him in the mirror. So that was a very important match to try and win. And so losing out on it kinda sucks. But we've gotten out of worse. Could have angled that one a little differently as well. We played that. We played the 3/3 early instead of playing our Lissandra, and that left us without a frozen thrall for a few extra turns. We might have been able to get a thrall on board a little bit faster if we'd mulliganed that a little bit or sequenced that a little bit differently. I didn't want to get our Lissandra having damage on her. I was going to try and get her to flip, because then at that point, all of their chip damage doesn't really do anything. But if you take away a bunch of her health off of that avalanche that we were about to drop, leaves her in a spot to where she doesn't get to block anything. All right, moving on though. Opponent didn't have a bird. Dove has an Esmuth. Let's see how this rolls out.
Nagakaburo surrounds us.
Warm hearts,
All right.
hot soup.
Gonna block. We're gonna drop the Blighted Ravine next turn. And so if we get to shrink his board, we can still take this down, even though he wins the attack on this turn. And we can hopefully recover with some Draculorn Inquisitor. Opponent does not seem excited about the prospect of adding units to this board. Can't say I blame him. Bard comes down. Okay. He survives. All the Inquisitors, look out. So I don't really want to block this turn. We'll see if he spends more mana. Say if we get into a spot to where Inquisitor dies to a Tentacle Smash, then we're going to have some problems, but well, this seems on the greedy end of the spectrum. It's only going to have 1 mana behind. I don't think he's going to have a card like Parlay. Oh, we would have survived anyways. Good job, Draklorn. Send him in. We're just going to play another Inquisitor, so I don't care to lose the one on board. Alright, Thrall friends. Looking pretty decent. We can drop another Thrall on this turn if we want, if we go through the Sands of Time.
Mother Serpent brings us together for another voyage.
May she look upon our journey with pride, or perhaps humor.
Just the likely big thing here will be just making sure we don't die to the Overwhelm, and so if we have to Three Sisters one of these units off the board, then fine. But I think we should probably be safe enough with just the Instant Century. So tiny. You're so tiny, Illaoi. This does, reek of a Tentacle Smash as well. Okay, seems good. Blood in the water. Okay. So you really plan on attacking now, or is he just trying to kill our small unit?
Do you hear her voice?
Huh. Alright. I don't quite get the angle here. If he's trying to set up a Tentacle Smash, or if he's trying to set up a deal 4 damage thing. Either way, I just don't feel like we really care. Let's send the squad. We can do a Three Sisters into Entomb if we want. Okay. Neg 15 into 10. GG it. All right. Let's play that Bard mirror match everyone loves. See who can get that chime advantage. I know I'm excited. We wasted all of our luck on that first game when we when we hit the chime on turn 1 and then the double chime on turn 2. So we gotta see if we can't roll it back. Now, I did buy a lottery ticket today. I don't think the Powerball hits until tomorrow, and so it'll be your all's day. The Powerball hits. We'll have to see if I think it was 40 million. Catch like 20 million of that. Be pretty cool. It would be pretty cool spending $2 and getting 20 million. I've already spent it. You're not getting any of it, so don't be like signing up your lawyers or anything. I've already spent all the money in the brain. None of it going to viewers, and so I'm sorry. just stuff on my end. And so I'm gonna buy a bunch of sweet shit. It's gonna be awesome. Everybody has all the watchful idols. He goes into bird. Okay, so he can't tentacle smash next turn, and we can. I'm pretty tempted to try and pop it off and just see what happens. Like, if we end up trading tentacle slams, then that's fine. Otherwise, ours just becomes bigger than his. The other option is we could look to just tentacle smash an idol as a means to prevent his growth a little bit and still making ours bigger. I think this is probably the way to go about it. Like, our only way to get advantages with our hand right now are with these tentacle smashes, and so now if he comes in and like re-smashes, it's okay. Ooh. Interesting. Like, the scary thing here was if he smashed, he'd be a 6/6 into our 5/5, right? But now he doesn't have that option. Just assume he doesn't have it. He can't deal 4 damage next turn either. I think we're getting ahead in this one, but of course have to wait till next turn. We have the advantage in terms of the watchful idols now, so his hook into our tentacle isn't very good. See what joyous cards he's been hitting off the chimes. He goes Illaoi. Oh, do we want to spawn? I was thinking you had the mana to go big. So he can make his tentacle a 5 now. Yeah, we gotta go ahead and spawn. Then if he wants to trade Illaoi for our tentacle, I think that's okay. Interesting.
Who's on top of the bounty board today?
Okay. And that's probably as good as this turn's going to get, right? We get to take down his Illaoi, our unit doesn't die. He can, of course, do something now to kill our tentacle, but feels like we just jumped super far ahead. Oof. Illaoi number 2. You finally got it. Rip our tentacle. How much damage are we looking at here? 5 coming in. I want to prevent some of it, if not all of it. Our bard isn't like super at risk. We'd probably just go ahead and prevent all of it. He falls to 1. Opponent only has 2 mana at this point. I don't think people play too much in the way of... let's start with this. I don't think people play too much in the way of Make It Rains anymore. But hitting the token onto Bard, now I feel safe. He's going to have 2 health instead of 1. Not a lot they can do with 2 mana. You can put another tentacle on the board or something, but not a lot to worry about.
Get out of life what you put in.
Get bloody, get paid.
Cool. I'd like to play Zap, but I think this will be a Blood in the Water turn.
Who's on top of the bounty board today?
What can stand against this weight?
Kinda nasty.
Don't stand in my way. Time to make some coin.
So say we come in for 7. We're just not going to Blood in the Water this turn anymore. Let's slow this back down.
Gotta go with the flow.
Wasted Yeben Warns. Let's just go ahead and cycle it. Well, yeah, we should probably cycle it. The downside to giving up on the Blood in the Water is we can't quite take the Tentacle down anymore. I mean, maybe we just do this, right? Let's get this thing off the board. Then we can at least stop his Tentacle to a degree. Oh, guess that was enough. GG. Market a W for bust. All right, nice comeback. Nice comeback. And that's why I don't really like trying to hard target specific decks, right? We lost to the random Teemo thing. Our decks are better. I put that in air quotes if you were watching. Our decks were better than Teemo. Fine, right? We took Taliyah up against what should have been a good matchup in the Boom Baboon deck, lost. And then we took Taliyah up against Bard, which is a bad matchup, won, right? It's, we're not playing 1,000 games, right? The matchups are really kind of big, important, and these kind of like high variance situations. And so, like, right, if we're playing a best of 1,000 against each other, then taking our Lissandra against Bard is really going to pan out. But in this kind of situation, just a best of 1 is so high variance that I don't really like coming in and just trying to hard target something down. But okay, on to the final battle. Interesting collection. I don't think I ever want to ban out this Evelyn. I think that deck is probably fine. It seems like it's something that maybe we should worry about a little bit more, like given the go tall nature of our decks. But I think I would rather face the Evelyn Viego than I would be to face the Kindred deck, assuming that both of them have Vengeance in it, right? Vengeance is quite good against both Bard and Kaisa, and I would assume that this guy's game plan is probably to ban our Taliyah Lissandra and then take his Shadow Isles decks against both of our Go Tall decks. And so let's at least take one of those out of the equation. And then if he bans our Taliyah Lissandra, we have a sort of mirror against Kaisa, and then the other ones. I think this is okay. I'm going to take out the Kindred. It is kind of that flip side of the equation, though, as to where we're just playing good decks against off-meta decks. Do you just want to battle our good decks against the worst ones? And I'm kind of on board with that, but I'm still a little worried about this. Although the Kaisa probably is a bad matchup for Taliyah. I'm curious if he ever leaves our Taliyah Lissandra in. I don't think they can. Taliyah Lissandra tends to be exceptionally strong against these type of strategies. All right, it's in. Now, do we want to? We should probably lead up with it twice. If he queues up the Kaisa deck again, that is a fairly bad matchup. I feel kind of okay against whatever deck plays Evelyn, but up against Kaisa is a little scary. Is that where we stop? I assume he's only playing like 1 Fiora, right? It's probably like 3 Kaisa, 2 Sivir, 1 Fiora, and it's not something we need to keep quicksands in order to try and combat. So let's keep the Thrall and the Harbinger. Okay. I'm gonna get like a million Thralls on turn 4, please. He's playing very slow. I'm just going to pass and go for 2. We'll get the Taliyah down. That's going to make a second Frozen Thrall. We can shrink them both accordingly now. And not worry as much about... What the fuck? So weird. Not worry as much about what he's doing. I was not expecting Aspiring Chronomancers and Preservariums to come out of this Kaisa deck, but... Alright. Seems like them going slow is not ideal.
You are nothing. Worthless. Don't waste my time.
Interesting. Can things ever, like, get worse beyond this turn? Right? Say we avalanche this board. He's just got a Chronomancer. The next turn we can Inquisitor and Imagine Possibilities. The Possibilities is a bit short, but... Yeah, just give us some time. Sharp Sight onto a Husk. Okay. I hope your follow-up unit is strong, my dude. Just dropping Kaisa next turn? I think that's okay.
Come, my warrior. Show me your worth.
Time in a Bottle is a pretty huge draw as well. We want any of these? Probably just Three Sisters at this point, right? I mean, I know he has Sivir and we can't really interact with her, but we're about to get the 2 big boys on board. Our Lissandra is about to flip. Let's just roll with the punches a little.
More than mortal, I am Iceborn. Succumb.
Like, this isn't a super scary Sivir. We don't really want to block it, but we do get some blocking options with the Three Sisters as well. If we want to take the Frost card up to 12 health, it should be pretty tough for them to give her +6 attack.
Business as usual. My steel is yours.
How involved do we want to get here? Okay. That involved right there. Exactly that amount. None. None is what I was going for. Not sure what happens with this unit. Okay, the spell shield activates before the barrier. That's interesting because now the barrier will fall off next turn. So, I mean, could just open. We could look to play Buried in the Ice. We have lots of options here. Like, if we open...
You're covered.
Probably just play Buried in the Ice. It's like, even if things start to go wrong here, the Buried in the Ice keeps his units off the board until the next turn. So now it's like he gets to either counterspell this, which he didn't have, and then play one dude. Or if he counterspells it, it's fine. He gets to trade, 4 mana for 9, but...
The cold creeps in.
It should still just been, it would have been pretty tough to recover from. Lethal. Alright, good job, Taliyah. Good job. I was a little worried of taking you into the Kaisa deck, but you proved your strength valiantly. You were only felled by Teemo today. Teemo, the only one to take down our Taliyah. The most unsuspecting of sources coming in for the biggest of booms. All right, well, let's see if our Bard can do it. I believe in you, team. You switch it up? Nope. Kaisa deck coming back at us. So let's see. Let's hang on to this Tentacle Smash and then get rid of everything else. We want to find our birds and our Esmuths. Found our birds. Ain't no joke there. No one from opponent? Good. It's like they're not able to do the kind of turbo Kaisa things with their build. A little worried here. I'd like to like get this Tentacle Smash going for the next turn, but if it's like when we play Bird and don't have any units in our hand, we have a lot of opportunity to just outright miss everything. Oh, let's go for it. Drop Bird. Can't Yibin warn this way, but I think that's okay. Hey, we found one. Learn from the master, as they say. That's what they say. I wouldn't say it. It's just what they say. Yeah, that's one of the things that really, in the workplace, something you should do is not strive to not use those generic terms. So say, you know, how that works or this works or that thing or this thing. If you take your time to describe it specifically, it tends to work out pretty well. And then also, it's like whenever you're reading through the old Reddit and you see people describe another group, ooh, wow, that seems premature. Describing people as they or them or they think or they think this, they think that. Usually get to discount their opinion pretty quickly. I just assume you're talking to a child at that point, but
I know what I want.
anywho. I think this is okay. I'm going to play the bird, and then I'm going to look to go into next turn, put the Yibin Warned onto Sivir, and then Riptide Summoner. I think we're in just a pretty choice position after that. Wish you could see how far along their Kaisas were, but I don't think she's close to flipping. But let's see. Should be obvious we're up to shenanigans. We're going to drop the Yibin Warned to pop the Spell Shield. If he plays a Barrier, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. But it should be very clear that that Sivir is about to be assaulted.
You're covered.
Okay. It's one of the things I had to really focus on with trying to make the old contents as well. Not playing this card on that card or doing this thing onto that thing. Trying to specifically play Riptide Sermon onto Sivir. You got to really kind of get it ingrained in your head to talk like that. But I think we're there. I think we're close.
I can almost taste
We use our words good and say things right. All right, though. This Kaisa is not a problem. I'm going to go ahead. Well, I mean, is the Scout a problem? We can't kill her anyways, right? So let's just go ahead and try and take down Sivir. He's going to get a Scout attack from Kaisa. Can't stop it. Have to block her at least once. Okay. It's going to be a job for Bird. But, I mean, she's going to have 2 skills. It's not that impressive.
Time to burn you away.
Come on!
Get in there, Bird.
Hide from the light.
You fought valiantly. You tried your hardest. By God, we appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to answer this Kaisa. That's going to be a problem. He's essentially out of cards, but you just get it. Do we just lead with the tentacle smash? I mean, everything we have in our hand just does tentacles, right? I think we should probably... Well... I don't know. If he comes out here and just, like, leads with a barrier, then we're pretty hosed as well. So this will leave her at 1. The scary thing here is them having, like, a sharp sight. Yeah. Man, we would have been big enough to get out of that if we had the answered prayer. We picked the wrong one. Fuck. Alright. At least if he open attacks, we don't immediately die. Oh, wow. That's about as good as the top deck one could hope for. Have no cards into hand, Preservarium into Preservarium to spend all your mana. Not bad, dude. Not bad. Let's see if we get the Riptide Sermon off. Not a ton of stuff he wants to do here, and so... Alright, must block. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. I guess I see how life is. Huh. On to the next one. So, I mean, we could have potentially gotten out of that. I just feel like the likelihood of them having either a sharp sight or a barrier is much higher than them having another way to get out of that. And so, like, the thing that I was actually worried about there was getting hit with Cataclysm. It felt like, to me, the thing that they were setting up was Cataclysm. But, I mean... That's tough for me. It's like when you see a deck like that to where they're playing multiple copies of the Preservarium, they're playing that 2/3 that predicts, they're playing the Feral Prescience, just predict for nothing. Like, do they really have room in their deck to play all of these cards? And I don't know. That's where it's like a little strange to me. That was kind of odd, the things that they were trying to pull off there. And so... I'm not sure at what point you just kind of like give up on, you know, like what kind of spell that they have. I guess they're probably got to be more likely to have the burst spells and the slow spells, but I really just thought that felt like a place that they were going to try and drop a thing, whatchamacallit. All right, well, you got dudes on board. I'm ready for battle now. Oh boy. Oh man, we put 3 chimes on top of our deck and all 3 of them fucking landed on the Watchful Idol. Okay. Okay. I don't know who's allowed to bitch about the RNG here. If it was our triple bird opener, if it was hitting both of the chimes onto the Watchful Idol. Is my lottery ticket gonna hit? That's the new question now. Okay. Dude plays his first card. Not ultra worried about it. He needs to get on board and be doing stuff fast. Okay, so Evelyn gets a bunch of stuff. We're gonna hit her with we can pull her out of combat if we want. She's going to be on the low side next turn, so it's not as scary. Which do we even care? Trying to decide if we'd rather just play Zap, but our draws for Zap do give us some interactivity, but I'd rather save Zap for once our Bard is flipped, if we can manage that. Okay. It's going to throw a blocker in front of Evelyn, and then take the hooks in front of both of her units.
Get bloody, get paid.
I mean, we still have this pretty powerful aggro-based draw. So,
I want more.
getting really close to just booming them.
I shoot.
Right? Like, can we just kill with blood in the water this turn? It's pretty close. Like, if he taps out for a unit here, we just win the game. Okay. Alright, stuff just happened. So let's blood in the water. The little guy? Ooh, Diego just created this, right? Yeah. Okay. I didn't want to kill the unit and then have Diego just make another unit. Good.
Time to make some coin. Don't stand in my way.
Give it one of these. Vile Feast would get him out of this mess, right? You can Vile Feast the hired gun, but pretty good chance we just end the game here. And we did. Good job, Dex. GG. And so, yeah, not a bad set of games. Not a bad set of games. We were able to get our prime glory with the good deck lineup, and you know, I'm pretty okay with it. The thing that I typically don't like with these lineups is in the Gauntlet, I feel like if we play a mirror match, it's okay, right? I don't feel like it's that bad. I feel like our level of skill, like I don't know, we can get pretty reasonably well into Masters. We can qualify for seasonals every year, are going to just be much higher than the average person in Gauntlet. And so if I have to play a mirror match against people in Gauntlet, then I feel pretty okay with it. Now, where that kind of like the switch there flips is when like I'm playing in seasonals, and I feel like I'm going to be very middle of the road, and I don't want to be playing mirror matches all day against people that are likely to be in a much tighter skill range, and much more likely to either be equal or higher skill level than me. And so the edge that we would get in a mirror match in Gauntlet is much, much, much higher than we would have in seasonals. Now, there's a few decks, like if like my standard grinder deck is good at seasonals, then I feel pretty good about taking it against anything. Like if Draven Scion is good in the format, I feel pretty good about playing mirror matches with it all day. But we tend to play like so many different decks over the course of content creation. I don't get the opportunity to just like sit and focus in on one deck. And so I don't feel as like super comfortable just playing this top 3 deck lineup in an event like seasonals. But like as I kind of grow as a player, as we've transitioned from playing Expedition into playing Constructed, I've started to get more comfortable in a lot of the concepts of Constructed and the things that are happening there. And as time goes on, you get to play a lot of the same matches over and over again, and I get more and more comfortable. And so like at some point I'll feel reasonable playing a deck, playing a best of 3 lineup that just has like the 3 top decks in it. But at seasonals, I wouldn't like it. But right now in this current format, I think it's great. And Gauntlet, it's also going to be great, right? As we went through these, we played the Powder Pandemonium deck 0 times, Taliyah 0 times. So I'm glad we didn't just try and target that. We had a couple of deck lists to where the decks were all off meta. Like 2 entire matches, and so that's a place to where having long tail decks like Taliyah Lissandra is extremely strong. And then even as we got to the end, we played against like Kaisa a couple times and Bard once, but then those wouldn't have most certainly been like those tight deck lists that you would see running up through seasonals. And so I feel like we had a pretty good space for this year. And so, is it recommended for the week? I think this will be pretty good. And then this could be your last hurrah in terms of getting to play Bard and Kaisa and Taliyah Lissandra, because I fully expect all 3 of them to get hit with the nerfs in the upcoming patch. The Riot's been pretty aggressive in nerfing down the best decks in the format. And I feel like they recognized Bard with the last patch, and he did nothing except pop off ever since. I I don't think with Bard they'll like revert him to the way he was, to where Bard used to not grow with things like Vi, but I think they'll probably do something to nerf Bard. They'll probably do something to tone Kai'Sa down. I don't think Kai'Sa's going to get super hard to where she's going to cost like 6 mana instead of 5 or be a 3/4 instead of a 4/4, but I think something will happen there. I don't know how they'll handle it. Like, even just like the Sharp Sight nerf took her percentages down, and so I think that she'll catch a little bit of it, and then Taliyah Lissandra is still just underrated to to all degrees, and I think they'll still nerf Taliyah Lissandra even if she's not currently in the top 3 of the meta. And so it'll be interesting. The other interesting piece is none of the decks are like, there's not a super huge spread in the win rates, right? There's no decks that are like 55 and 56 and 57% win rates against the board. And so I think it'll be really interesting just to tone down some of these cards a little bit and seeing what kind of bubbles up. And then they always seem to just kind of upgrade some cards out of nowhere. And so I'm curious if the random nerfs or the random buffs, or even when they're just like, here's Rocket Barrage, right? They haven't done that in a few months, but who knows if they'll just give us more cards. That'd be sweet if they did. But anyways, I'm getting off topic and rambly. End of the day, the 3 good deck lineup is good this week, and you should have some reasonable success if you like taking that to battle. And so, that is going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.